Hi folks! With the Gen Con event registration coming up this weekend, I thought I'd do a little bit of a follow-up to my video series last year on the convention survival guide. And I'm going to be talking to you about how I go through and pick what games and what events I want to go to for a convention. And make sure to stay tuned to the end of the video because I have a fun announcement. One general thing is I always look at both the short and the long description when I'm looking at events on the Gen Con catalog. The short description gives me some idea, and then the long description I find elaborates on that. And there are definitely some that I've signed up for that haven't had very detailed or clear descriptions, and that's always a little bit of a gamble. There have been some that have worked out really great, and others, well, you can go check out this video to see how that went. But because time is kind of limited at these conventions, I like to have a clear idea of what it is that I'm going in for, especially if it's a game that's going to take like 4 hours. A seminar or something like that where I might lose 1 hour, I might be a little bit more willing to go on a gamble, but I don't want to spend 4 hours playing a game I'm not enjoying and wasn't what I was expecting. So here's kind of how I go through the event catalog because it can be overwhelming. First, I look through seminars. I enjoy seminars, so that's always a great place to start. There's usually a little bit small. The seminar list is usually a little bit smaller, so that makes it a little bit easier to go through, and I will just add anything that seems interesting to my wish list and then deal with the wish list later. Next, I go through the Isle of Misfit events as well as entertainment events. And most of the time I don't end up adding anything from the Isle of Misfit, but every now and then there's something that sounds interesting in there. And then the entertainment, usually there are a couple things that I always add, like burlesque. We love going to the burlesque show. Then there are a couple of performers I'll keep an eye out for to see, oh, if they have a concert going on, I'll add that. And that's a nice thing to kind of work in when I've notice like, hey, I've got a whole afternoon free and this band is doing a concert, I can go enjoy that, and it helps fill in some of my schedule. So now on to games. Now I usually just sign up for RPG games, board games and card games. Usually if there's a board game or card game I'm interested in, I'll just find that company's booth on the exhibitor hall and see if I can watch or play in a demo to try it out, because that's something that I can take and play somewhere else. So first of all, I narrow the search down by searching by game, and I'll go through and select any games that I've heard about, that I'm interested in trying, or that I know I enjoy. So that helps narrow the list down. And there are definitely a couple of games that I will look at and go, I know about this game, this isn't really what I want to play. So that definitely helps narrow the list. And then I'll go through and add anything that really jumps out at me to the wish list. See the title, read the description, and usually pick a couple of different time slots to add to my wish list so that later I can see how it works in my schedule. This also means if there's one particular game I really want to play, like a new system that I want to try out, I will make sure to have multiples of that game in multiple time slots. So if I don't make it in one, hopefully I'll make it in another. So yeah, one thing to note is I really enjoy trying out new games at conventions. So I usually won't sign up for like a Pathfinder or a D&D, although I might sign up for Pathfinder 2.0 if there are any of those, just because I know those systems and I know I enjoy them and I can play those systems at home, whereas I find conventions are a really great way to try out a new system or a new game, because you don't have to invest in all of the books and the person running it knows it. So, with our home group, if we want to pick up a new system and no one knows it, it makes it a little bit harder to just jump right in and kind of try it out. So the second thing I do is I search by groups. There are a few groups that tend to run games and have GMs that will run games for them that I've had really good experiences with at Gen Con. Contessa is one of them. So I'll search through all the games that they are running and usually end up adding a couple to my wish list. And sometimes there are ones that I might not try out otherwise, but because I have had good experiences with them, I'm a little bit more likely to go out on a limb and try something different. So after going through all of the games, then I usually look through some of the miniature events, throw in a speed painting or two, and then kind of all of the other categories I'll just quickly browse and see if there's anything that sparks my interest. So once I've gone through all of that, I take all of the events that I have in my wish list and I put them into a calendar so that I can see where things overlap as well as where I have big open chunks of time. And then this, as I talked about in schedule, helps me figure out priority, and also seeing the big chunks of time helps me go back through and see, were there any games that I maybe didn't initially add, or any events or stuff like that that I can kind of fill in some of those big chunks of time. Be mindful, give yourself breaks, don't book yourself like from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. straight. Your body will thank you. Okay, so announcement time! I'm going to be running a seminar for Contessa at Gen Con this year. I'm really excited and kind of nervous about it. The seminar is titled Cultivating Safe and Inclusive Tables, and it'll be myself as well as a couple of panelists that I'm still working on solidifying exactly who, so that will be announced. So we'll be discussing tools game masters can use at their tables, like Session Zero, X-Card, Lines and Veils, things like that, to make sure that everyone's having a good time. As well as we'll talk about tips for all gamers on how to speak up and how to also help advocate for others if a line gets crossed at the table. Basically, we're talking about how to make sure that your gaming table is safe, fun, and welcoming. I'll put a couple of articles that kind of inspired doing this panel in a link down below. I will also put all the info for the event as well as a link to the event in the description. So if you're going to Gen Con and that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I'd love to see you there and chat with you. Thanks to all of our patrons that help support us making these videos and helping us make it to Gen Con and do fun things like hosting panels. And I want to give a special thanks to Sean, Arvi, Lainey, and Joan. If you're interested in becoming a patron, you can go to patreon.com/rollforinitiative and check out our perks and think about joining our campaign. Thanks to everybody who watches. If you're new here, we make videos every Tuesday and Thursday about gaming and our general geeky life. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye! I'm gonna have to talk to people without having a way to edit out the awkwardness. Whee!